Good morning. So I am going to read you a story, okay? Today's story, let me fix the camera. Today's story was a story that I read to your parents when they were little. Looks like there's a lot of sunshine. I don't know what that's all about. But today's story is called Ferdinand, the story of Ferdinand. It's written by Monroe Leaf, and the drawings are done by Robert Lawson. So there's Ferdinand on the cover. See, smelling the flower. So, the story of Ferdinand. So, once upon a time in Spain, a castle in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. Look at him, cute little bull. All of the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. That's how bulls play, I guess, huh? But not Ferdinand. He wasn't running and jumping with the others. He liked to just sit quietly and smell the flowers. Look at that. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under the cork tree. Here's the cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. There he is, sitting there, smelling the flowers. Little bull Ferdinand. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. She's watching him. Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head, she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. I like it better here, where I can sit just quietly and smell the flowers. That's cute. His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. And as the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. And they mark the tree when he gets bigger. As he gets older, they marked how tall he was, just like we do on GaGa's wall. So he's very big now. He even has horns, look, because he's a bull. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. They're bullfights. In Spain, they do that. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. He's still there. And one day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick up the biggest, the fastest, the roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. These are the guys in their funny hats, huh? All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting and leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. And the men in the funny hats were watching all those bulls act so crazy. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree and sat down. There he goes, walking up to his cork tree. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. There he goes, almost sitting on it. Oh no, what do you think is gonna happen when you sit on a bee? Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him. And that is just what the bee did to Ferdinand. Look at his surprised face. Look at him. I don't think he expected that at all. Wow. Did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. Look, you could just see his back feet. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. And then Ferdinand's like, little surprise. So they took him away for the bullfight day in the cart. There he is, he's in the cart. They're taking him away to fight in Madrid. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing. So they have a big parade down here. See all those people. And people are hanging out the windows going, woohoo! They're all ready to party and have a really good time. All the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. Did they all have flowers? That's how they party. They had a parade into the bull ring. There's a guy riding a horse, starting the parade, blowing that horn, going into the bull ring. First came the bandoleros with the long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull to make him mad. What? Look at, they stick those in the bull, and that's what gets the bull mad, and they fight, and that's what causes the bullfight, and that's what those guys like. Next came the picaderos, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make them even madder. See them? So mean. Then came the matador, the proudest of all, and he thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape on and a sword, and he was supposed to stick the bull last of all. There he is, the matador. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Look at, he's trying to peek out right there. You know who it was, Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the bandoleros were afraid of him, and the picaderos were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. They're all looking a little bit nervous about Ferdinand coming out. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. There he is. It's a big, huge place. This is all the people, and here's Ferdinand out in the middle of the field. It's full of people. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the lovely ladies here, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. There's Ferdinand in the middle of the field, and all the people that are sitting out here, there's so many women with flowers in their hair that he could smell them. He was very happy about smelling them. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled, and the bandoleros were madder, and the picaderos were mad, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off his cape and his sword. Look at them all. They're getting upset, and Ferdinand's just sitting right there, smelling the flowers. So they had to take Ferdinand home. So there he is in the cart. They're bringing him back home. And for all I know, he's sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers very quietly. He was very happy. See him sitting right there under his cork tree. The end. And there's a flower on the end. So how about that? Ferdinand. The story of Ferdinand. He's a cute little bull.